Hey guys, Mike here. So for all attacks in Monster Hunter, they can be classified into 3 different types, and these types dictate what your response is to each of these attacks. Now the type can vary depending on weapon, but for the most part, they're the same because each attack's type is determined by 2 things. 1, the available parts that can be hit during the attack and during the recovery, as well as the active hitboxes during that attack. So this is Nargacuga in Monster Hunter World, and I listed all of his attacks that he can do. Let's start from the bottom. So over here I have Orange. Orange attacks are attacks that have low recovery and high active hitbox time. And these are typically the worst moves to punish because there's just no time to hit them. Remember, you can't hit a part that is an active hitbox. Additionally, even if a part is not an active hitbox, if the monster is moving, for all intents and purposes for melee weapons, you can't hit that part either. This is typically for charges. So you can see I have that for charge and retreat and charge and 180. And even the cut wing pounces. These are short charges, so his whole body moves and there's nothing really there that you can hit because he's just going to be out of range. The only time you can really hit him is when he finishes the charge and stops moving, then you can hit whatever part you want. Over here for strafing, reposition, and stalk idle, these aren't attacks. These moves just are him moving very quickly to the left or right, or he's hopping around or strafing to the left or right. And you can get in a cheeky hit here if you're close enough and you already had good positioning. But if you're too far, you're just not going to get a hit in. So these attacks, don't expect to get a large punish on them, but for a fast weapon, say Sword and Shield and Dual Blades, you could probably get in one small hit if you're close enough. All right, the next class of moves are the green ones I have here. And these are moves that are good candidates for true counters. So true counter is basically you attacking the monster while it's doing a attack animation. And these are the best moves for you as a hunter because these moves give you a ton of damage uptime, usually on the order of 2 to 3 seconds. Now, 2 to 3 seconds of pure damage uptime is a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot of damage. And this is something that the spreadsheet crowd won't tell you, and it's partly because they just don't understand it that much. They don't understand the concept of damage uptime. Here for Nargacuga, I have a bite. If you just sidestep the bite, you have free reign on his paws and cut wings for at least 1.5 seconds if you have good timing. For his left and right tail whips, this is a big true counter situation. You just sidestep it in about 20 to 30 frames, and you have free reign on his head and his opposite paw during that whole time. This is a lot of damage. Now, your job as a hunter is, there's going to be obvious moves that you can true counter. It's usually attacking a part that isn't the active hitbox. Another very common example is Rathian. When Rathian does the 360 tail spin, Rathian takes about 5 seconds to do that, and during that whole time you can just attack the legs. And just because the legs aren't a weak point doesn't mean that damage doesn't add up. That's a lot of damage, especially considering the opportunity cost of the other parts that you could hit, or actually should I say you can't hit, because you can't really hit the head is moving, you can't hit the tail because it's an active hitbox, so that just leaves the legs to be hit, and that total damage you can get on the legs is much more than you could get on the head or tail in that situation. So it's objectively the best option in that situation. So even though there's obvious true counter moves that you can attack the monster with, there are actually some moves like these in yellow that with good positioning and good enough skill, you can actually turn these into true counters as well. For example, the tail projectile, as long as you keep your positioning close to the Nargacuga and he initiates this move, you actually have free reign on his head and paws while he's doing this animation. At the very least, it would just revert back to a soft punish here, which is not the end of the world, but some of these yellow moves can actually graduate into green moves or true counter situations. So always be on the lookout for these. Not only that, some of these orange moves or these hard to punish situations can actually graduate into yellow situations. For example, the charge and retreat. If you have good positioning and you know where he's going to end up, you can actually get in a quick punish on his pivoting paw and get in some damage that way. Now, I wouldn't graduate this into a green or true counter situation because the recovery on this move is so low that there really isn't any time to attack him while he's doing the attack. You can really only get in a couple of cheeky hits after he has completed the retreat part of the move, but you're always on the lookout to see if you can try and convert these low return attacks into soft return moves or even true counters. And again, that's monster knowledge. But if you are actively looking for these, you can find quite a lot of opportunities for damage. All right, the last move I have here is in blue. and it's the tail slam. And the reason I colored in blue is because this is the last type of move that a monster can throw at you. And these are moves that are just hard, heavy punish attacks. Now, it's not necessarily a counter situation. For example, during the tail slam, it's actually pretty hard to hit any of the parts because he's going to throw his tail right at you. So you can't hit the front of his body because he's literally moving the front of his body away from you. And the tail is actually pretty easy to dodge, but you can't hit the tail while it's an active hitbox. So there's nothing you can really do during the actual attack except dodge from it. But the thing about this attack is that the recovery on it is so high. You have 5 seconds to do whatever you want to the monster. So you can attack his cut wings, you could attack his tail, you could tenderize, you could do a wall bang if he's not enraged. This is a perfect time to do a wall bang. And every monster pretty much has at least one of these moves, even Elder Dragons. So this is your opportunity to really capitalize on the monster and pick the best damaging option, or tenderize or wall bang if those are available. So if you think about the monster in just these types of moves, your damage output will skyrocket and you'll start to look like those hunters that just seem like they're mind reading what the monster is doing. Anyways, hope that helped you guys. Thanks for watching.